Welcome to the Nifty Chicks. In this episode, we chat with the team behind Stoner Cats, an NFT adult animated short series, which has some star power, including Mila Kunis. We'll hear about their journeys into the NFT space, how they pioneered bringing a very Web 2 TV show concept into Web 3, and how they broke the internet. Let's do this.
Welcome to the Nifty Chicks. We are super excited to have the Stoner Cats here. We've got Lisa Sturbikoff and Sarah Cole. Welcome to the show. We're excited to have you guys here today.
Oh, thanks for having us.
To be here.
Yeah.
So Stoner Cats, I remember hearing about Stoner Cats. What year was it that you guys came out? Was it 2020?
2021.
Or 2021. Okay. But I remember hearing about Stoner Cats and, of course, Mila being a part of it and thinking how cool it was what you guys were doing with if you own the NFT, you get access to the TV show. And as far as I know, it was the first I had heard of somebody doing that with an NFT. So tell us a little bit about how that all came to be.
Sarah, you want to go?
Sure. Let's see. What's our time limit? I always say this is like our origin story to see how I can condense it, but I'll try.
Right.
So we've been trying to make the show traditionally, myself and my two co-creators, Ash Brannon and Chris Cartagena, and we could not get it picked up anywhere. People were either afraid of the marijuana content or they had other talking animal properties. No one really wanted to watch a story about an aging woman and her Alzheimer's journeys. They're like, that's a bummer. So we ended up pitching around. We pitched to Lisa, Mila, and Cami at Orchard Farm, and they just got our weird. We just ended up like laughing for an hour and a half, and they're like, we're not sure what this is, but we're into it. Let's try it. So with Orchard Farm, we took it around and we had a pilot script and we had Jane Fonda attached, and we still couldn't get it picked up for the same reasons. So it wasn't until about April of 2021, we were having a call, and it was Mila's idea actually to say, what if we did this as an NFT? And we're like, I don't know how that works or what that means, but yes, sure, let's try. I was an early crypto adopter, so I was like lightly into the scene, but not anywhere near how immersed we all became. So we all worked nights and weekends, the three of us, and produced the first episode. Ash hand drew and animated it all by himself. And so Chris and I were editing and managing all the other tasks. And so we did the pilot episode nights and weekends while we still had jobs. And then also we're generating the art for the NFTs. And so that was over the span, I think, of 3 months. And then we dropped in July of 2021 and proceeded to break the internet in the process. I don't know if Lisa, you wanted to talk a bit on that.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun sort of moment. That moment in April, we were like, maybe this is how we do this. And then it was like, what does that mean? What does that look like? How is that done? There wasn't like a playbook that we could go by to follow. So it was a lot of us figuring some of that stuff out. So while Ash, Sarah, and Chris are busting their butts making episode 1, also, by the way, Sarah won't give herself credit. Like the tracking of, when you're generating art and putting all of those pieces together, Sarah's a genius at tracking that and getting that in an organizable, now there's incredible tools for putting your art together, but there just wasn't at that point. And Sarah was sort of creating those things on Excel. And then we were additionally kind of creating, we were really combining a very crypto space, the very NFT space, with a very traditional elements. So having very traditional actors, a very traditional representation, to have all of it. So many people that we had to make sure that we were educating on what the space was, because people didn't understand it at all. We were just still learning ourselves, and putting together all of the pieces that we would need to, making sure that that we were accounting properly, that we were going to put our IRS documents together properly for everything regarding the drop and who gets paid what and all of that. That stuff was really challenging, and we paid our actors in ETH. And I think it was probably the first time ever that that actors got paid that way. So it was a lot to figure out.
That's super interesting. And you guys it sounds super, I know you're giving us a Reader's Digest, but it sounds super like this all just made sense to us. A couple of things didn't click, so then we kind of reorganized and went the NFT route. But like a lot of our audience are total newbies to the NFT space and crypto space. Help us understand what your experience was actually just simply yourselves understanding NFTs to then be able to articulate it to others.
We, night after night, and I mean, Ashley and Chris were so incredibly patient because I would be like, we don't know yet. Hang on, let's figure this out. And then we'd, kind of come back around. But every single evening, our entire team who had kids, and then some don't, put the kids to bed, get on Zooms, and we sat there on Zooms for hours at a time getting educated. I mean, hours, truly, night after night. And like trying to think of how could it, could it be this? Could it be this? What does it look like? Do we mint cells? Do we mint PFPs? Like but I didn't know what that even looked like or meant. There was a huge amount of education that we had to do for ourselves. And we did, and thankfully like learned a whole lot that way. And then it wasn't really until much later that it like clicked into place for me that an NFT is just a tool, and it's just a tool to own a thing digitally, and that's all that it is. And it can be art, it can be numbers pointing to a thing, it can be lots of stuff. But it is just a tool for ownership. And like when that clicked in my head, the even greater possibilities opened up. It was really interesting.
Interesting. Yeah, we talk a lot about that clicking moment because it clicked for me thanks to Minty Cell and Joel Comm, who host the Bad Crypto podcast. As soon as they started kind of explaining it in a certain way, I was just like, bing, and like then it all made sense. But that click is so hard for newbies, and it takes everyone such a different time frame depending on how you kind of absorb information. So I'd say like that's pretty impressive that you like kind of took ownership of your own learning in the space and research. And we talk all the time about needing to research and just better educate ourselves because no one's going to do it for us. So kudos to both of you for kind of diving
we were really lucky that Sarah was already like a little bit in crypto. So that made that part like a lot easier. The bigger part, the really helpful part was we had Maria Bajwa on our team. And Maria is like, I mean, she's now on the Ape DAO board. Yep. And she's a Gaia Series partner with Ashton in Sound Ventures. So she's been a crypto VC for years and a massive early adopter of NFTs in particular. So she was the one who just like walked us, held us through this whole process from top to bottom, and then brought in Big Head Club, who obviously Mac Flavell had been at Dapper for years, did CryptoKitties. And so just with people who had been in the space for years, got to learn a lot.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm not sure when Mila and Ashton got in the space, but I'm curious. So someone like Jane Fonda, who, is a little bit older, you would think it would be less likely to be in the NFTs and crypto. How did she is she getting paid, or was she getting paid in ETH? And how did that all kind of happen there?
Jane Fonda is our one person who was like, please don't make me do it. And we were like, it's okay. It's okay. I mean,
we love you anyway.
We love you anyway. She was part of the show before we decided to do it this way. We made this choice. There was a lot of those conversations, and obviously for her, huge considerations regarding the environmental impact. So that was a lot of our conversations.
Oh, right.
And but she, she's a traditional kind of gal.
Well, and also,
so has she come around at all?
I mean, I think she's really, you want to talk about do your own research as well. Like she really, I think that's what's wonderful about the space, the NFT and the Web3 space, is it's so open. Like it seems so convoluted, and we talk about that click moment as like up until that moment, you're like, oh God, I'm overwhelmed. But then when you get embraced by the community, and then we surrounded ourselves with really knowledgeable people, like Lisa said, with Maria and Morgan Beller as well. Just superstars and so knowledgeable. And Jane was kind of in that way of she went and researched her groups to validate that ETH was a choice that was okay for her with the environmental impact. So she did her research and then came to that conclusion that's like, okay. But I mean, God, Jane's been on the forefront of everything since the beginning of her career. So she's a groundbreaker for sure. So this is really not that different for her, I don't think.
In the world of like, don't meet your heroes unless your hero is Jane Fonda, and then meet her,
Yeah,
and then
100%.
just go like, oh my God, how could you be so incredible? She's incredible.
Yeah, she's amazing.
That's
Absolutely amazing. So you, obviously did extremely well. You broke the internet. It was like a total smash. Was that in line with what you were expecting, or okay, no? Okay, so talk to us about what that moment was like.
I mean, well, for us too, coming from our perspective of our heads were down in either making the show, writing the episode, editing, animating, the whole process by ourselves. And then additionally, like Lisa said, I had my beautiful mind spreadsheet and I was like doing that work with the NFTs and partnering with Mac to help figure that out. And getting Ash to draw, and Ash was like, I'm a monkey with a pencil. Like, I don't understand anything beyond the drawing. Just tell me what to draw. And I was like, okay. So we were just very much head down into it. And then, we have so much trust in OFP and Orchard Farm. They're so supportive that we were just like, you guys have immersed yourselves and we trust that you guys are making the decisions because we've been so swamped that we can't even tack that on. So they were deeply entrenched in making sure all the pieces were there. The smart contract was set up and everything was in line to go. And we had no idea whether or not this was going to work. We just had no clue. And then hindsight, everyone's like, of course it works. And we're like, well, we didn't know that. We were the forefront of, putting stone cats on the internet. So it was just a Hail Mary. And then we actually had so much, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Lisa, we had so much web traffic on our original launch date that we had to push. And that was a big deal.
Well, there were a couple things on that push, and that was a big deal because, of course, in trying to combine the Web3 side and our traditional side, we had our traditional publicists working on their project the way that, we normally would. Obviously talk about education. She was just like, why? I don't understand. What is this? What are we doing? And so we'd had some kind of bigger press that had come out like in really traditional spaces, which is, by the way, so interesting. It's such an interesting experiment because none of those pieces of press translated to people. The things that translated to people were videos of Mila and Ashton and Vitalik on Twitter. That's what translated into traffic for us. Mm-hmm. All of the Mila did, what was it? People Magazine didn't translate at all. Any of the the normal sort of stuff where there was a normal audience, it just didn't convert to human beings joining our Twitter or joining our Discord. So that was really interesting. But so we were getting ready to launch on a Monday. Mila and I are in Canada. We're shooting a movie, and we find some QC issues in some of the artwork, and we're a little bit getting a little rushy. We're getting toward the end, and Maria was like, "That's it. We're not doing it. We're not launching today. We have to make sure that this stuff is right." And I had a nervous fucking breakdown. That's just so did Sarah. We are from the really traditional side. You don't delay. When I'm launching a movie, the movie comes out when the movie, right. That's the date. Yeah. And all of the software side people, all of the Web3 side people were like, it's fine. It's let's make sure it's right. We'll launch tomorrow. It's okay. And I was I'm trying to, keep myself calm, make sure that everybody's cool. Mila fired me for the night. She's literally stole my phone and handed me a bottle of wine and said, go away.
Good
or I got the phone call of why am I getting phone calls saying that you haven't launched when you said you were going to launch from our traditional side people. So there was just a lot going on there, but, and all this time us all thinking this will work or it won't work. And we don't know if it's going to work or not. But that Monday, and nobody told me this until the next day, until after we had launched, but that Monday we had a lot of traffic in the website and nobody told us that. So we were still in that place on Tuesday when the rest of the team was like, oh, I think it's going to be okay. I think we're going to get enough. our goal was to try to sell out within I think we all was sort of 8 hours. If we can sell out in 8 hours, that'll be an amazing success. And if not, okay, well, and great experiment. And then, we sold out in 35 minutes, and that was beyond any of our expectation. I mean, truly, we were all sitting on a Zoom together going, what? We just kind of couldn't believe it.
I love that. I love hearing those success stories of projects. And I don't know, your guys' it's such a cool story and unique, idea. I do have to say, Jen FT and I both have. Do you see my? I ordered that. I ordered it a while ago because I wanted to make sure I had it here for when we recorded this, because we've been chatting for a couple weeks, months. I'm not sure. Planning, for you guys to be on. So,
well, you guys both got the ones with the yep. That's amazing.
How appropriate.
I literally was like, I feel so relatable. This one speaks to me so much. It's like that martini glass, the whatever word you want to insert there. Okay.
Which is funny considering the shirt you have on today, Jen FT.
That's right.
Oh my God, it's amazing.
Very fitting. Very fitting.
Thank you.
So I have a question because you guys are on Ethereum. Any concerns about the changeover, and will that affect anything for you guys?
Question mark.
Unknown.
I mean, I think we all have the same concerns that we all have, and it'll be interesting to see. We're here to find out too.
Yeah, I think a lot of projects are feeling that way as to what's going to happen with this. In fact, Jen FT, I was thinking it probably needs to be something that we cover in an upcoming episode.
Agreed.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be interesting to see how the public adopt. What will become what's the canon chain now?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we'll definitely dive in a little bit more in a future episode, because I think there's a lot to unpack there on kind of everything, the whole current market conditions. So, as especially our viewers and listeners, it's hard to keep up with everything, because it seems like this space, we all thought tech was evolving so fast. The new iPhone had all these new features, and then the new Google phone, it just seemed like the tech had been evolving so fast for so long. And then you add NFTs and crypto, and it's just accelerated 10x. So it's so incredibly hard to keep up with what's going on, what's relevant in the crypto and NFT space. So my question to both of you is, as project leaders, how are you staying up to date on what's going on in the market? And then how are you taking that information and evolving what you're doing and how you're doing it to stay relevant?
That's a good question. I think it's constantly staying informed. Twitter is a big source of information, but you also have to weed through all the BS as well. So kind of finding, reputable people within the space. And, like I said, we've luckily surrounded ourselves with such stellar people that, Maria's just on my speed dial, and I'm just like, hey, random question. And then she can basically vet that. So it's kind of looking to people who are really more entrenched into it, and making sure you're on top of stuff. There's also so much other garbage as well. No joke, I onboarded my therapist into NFTs. Which is my favorite thing in the world. And so most of my therapy sessions are split between what do you think ETH is going to do soon? And I'm just listen, that gives me as much emotional turmoil as everything else in my life. So onboarding her, who's someone who's totally a noob, but she's also, using me as guidance as much as she can, but also she's telling me about all this other stuff of these people who are gurus and experts, and if you pay this much money, and that horrifies me, because there is such predatory behavior in this space. Mm-hmm, so it's being really cautious, really patient, not FOMOing in on anything, and just and waiting to see what shakes out and vet things with other people before you make any decisions. And I think that's true as like the Ethereum Merge is coming and all these other things are happening. Before you get worked up or make any decisions, vet yourself and vet your decisions. And I think that will carry you through.
Yeah, how do I stay in, obviously Twitter, but like, you've got to be so careful. There are people who seem to be speaking some sanity in my mind, and I like to listen to those people. I agree that there's this incredible new tech, and the blockchain is incredible, and it is a revolution. And what we've decided to do with it right now feels, and I mean, Lindsay McInerney, who we brought into our team, this was her analogy, is like when we first had the App Store, the only thing that we could figure out to do with iPhone apps was to make fart apps where they just made a fart noise. And I feel like we're in the fart noise section of the blockchain, where
I love that.
most NFTs are designed, and so many of them are just designed to be speculative assets, and that's not interesting, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous for most people. And there are ways that this is how people get taken advantage of, and they see like, but a Bored Ape is worth this many figures. Yeah, yes it is, but you didn't buy it when it's the one, guys. Moving on, that's the one. So it moves really fast. If you don't really, anybody who follows whatever influencer, the influencer is using you for their exit liquidity, so don't. You have to buy things that you love because you love them. If it gives you access to a thing that you love, amazing. You want to think of like buying something that like that if you spent $200 on it and you got the value, the joy of that $200, and now you can sell it for nothing, that it still gives you that joy. That's what really matters. I think when we try to think about what our North Star is how do we take normal things that people do in their daily experience now and make it better using the blockchain. Not use the blockchain to create a new banking system, but use the blockchain to improve upon gaming, to improve upon consuming of digital, or consuming of scripted content, or even unscripted. That's just not us, but somebody will do that really well at some point. To create things together, to advance community, using our normal things that we do, using the fact that you can actually own something digitally and make it a little bit better. That's the only way we think about it. Where are we going to be in 5 years when a normal person feels safe to do things on the blockchain? Right now, they don't feel safe, and there's good reason they don't feel safe. More scams than not. So creating a consumer product that people are enjoying to use, where they're safe to use it, that's where our focus is right now. And the tools aren't in place yet, and hopefully they will be soon.
Yeah, that's
so many things
of what we talk about all the time is safety. And that's, I think, where the space is lagging the most. And it's scary. And it's scary for newbies, because my experience stepping into this space, I got scammed twice within the first week and a half of being in the space. And there was so much of me that wanted to be like, I can't do this. I just obviously don't have the brain capacity to do this. This isn't the space for me, which that wasn't true. And I needed to overcome that thanks to awesome people in my community that I'm fortunate to live next to and ask their advice, just like Sarah and you were mentioning, like going to trusted people. And I am so lucky to live in a great community full of those incredible people. But I was very close to being like, I can't do this. I'm out after the first 2 scams in the first week and a half. So.
And it's not about brain capacity. It doesn't make any sense. The things also the things that people decide are going to be the cool things also don't make any sense. And that's okay. It doesn't make any sense to me, but I'm a 47-year-old woman. But there's some stuff to me that does make sense, and nobody pays attention to those because the influencers aren't talking about them. And everybody's got to remember that those influencers are making a living off of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. There's so many things that you said there, Lisa, that I am agreeing with. One of the things you mentioned was the artwork and whether what you're buying. I'm like, all of this stuff could be worth nothing, and it's okay with me because I love it. and I bought it because I love it. There's extra bonuses that go along with some of it. Some of it, there's not, there's nothing. So you guys are on season 4, right?
Episode
Episode 4. I'm sorry, episode 4. And but we've got episode 5 is coming out soon. We will have more details on that once you've got a final date. So what's next in the roadmap for you guys?
Well, it's fun because our roadmap we're almost done with. So what we had kind of put it
when you get to the end of the roadmap, then
it's an interesting question. It's a question that I think a lot of projects are dealing with right now. What I tell you what will not be a thing that we do is we will be doing no other paid drops. We will be not, kind of everything that we do, like, Stoner Cats aside, we've got two other projects on the Orchard Farm side, and they're primarily to start at least free. So that in that addition of like getting people to come in and experiment and play with us, I don't want to take anybody's, I don't want anybody to feel unsafe coming in and playing. And if they're playing for free, great. So Stoner Cats won't do any pay drops at all. We have lots of creative that we're ready to want to do. We are trying to figure what the best Web 2 and Web 3 combo can be to make that live on in that way. So that's sort of the answer. I wish I could talk more. I will say that it's all of our focus all the time is being able to realize, like to take the plan that we have and realize it, to take the creative plan that we want to do and realize it for the whole world.
I love that.
And to get a shit ton more eyeballs on Stoner Cats.
Yeah. I'll just say, like, kudos to you to following through with your roadmap. Not enough projects actually get through that. So, like, good work. It's obviously a lot of hard work that you guys are putting into this, more so than a typical PFP type of, let's create some art, let's release it, and let's hope to build and continue building the community. You're doing so much more. Stoner Cats is so much more than just that. So, huge hats off to both of you and all that you're doing.
Yeah, this show is so good because of Ash, Sarah, and Chris. Absolutely. And every time I see bits and pieces of episodes, and I get to see them in lots of states, I have, episode 3 tore my heart out. Episode 5 to me is the absolute funniest episode that we will probably have. It is so funny. My kid I showed her the animatic. She was sitting next to me when I was watching it, and she was just like truly like guffawing out loud. It's so funny. And it's awesome. And it's because of them. But we're just here to support them, and they've made an incredible piece.
So for our listeners out there, if you want to be able to see the episodes, you can go on the secondary and pick up a Stoner Cat of your choice. Here, I'll actually do a little screen share OpenSea here, so you can see all the Stoner Cats out there. So super easy, right? You just grab a Stoner Cat, connect your wallet to the website, and then you can watch the episodes and then get the new episode that's about to drop.
And I'll say, I am in a fit of irony, I am very allergic to cats. So these are my favorite kind of cats because they're all hypoallergenic. So
right.
Do you want to know my favorite thing is that our drop was 10,420, but on OpenSea it's 10,419 because right after somebody got mad at us and just burned one, and it makes me so happy that I mean, like and at the moment, like that sort of immediate post drop, like, people are so happy and then they're so angry and they're so, it's all of that. The fact that somebody burned one, I'm just like, amazing, good for you.
Listen, they lit up one of their Stoner Cats. That is also on brand. That's fine.
It's perfect.
That's funny. Well, thank you, ladies, so much for being here. We, appreciate everything you're doing in the space. And as always, just love seeing women doing cool shit in NFTs and crypto world. There's not enough of us.
That's right.
Totally agree. We got it. How do you get women to the blockchain? You make something that they want. So make
true.
something that you want.
Yeah, and I
Absolutely.
think it's such a supportive space, and we're appreciative of you guys doing this as well, because it is a scary way to kind of get into this space, and having what feels like your girlfriends just like, let's hang out, like, get in, loser, we're buying NFTs. Like, it's a nice soft experience, and then it becomes fun. And my therapist was like, this is like online shopping, and I was like, it is. It's like buying
It really is.
Feeds my addiction. It's terrible.
Yeah, right.
It's horrible, but fun. Horrible, but fun.
Right. Well, thank you, ladies, so much. We appreciate it. We'll keep continuing to follow you. And for our audience, how can they stay in touch with you? How can they follow you? Is it Twitter? Is obviously a big place.
Discord, which we go in and we do kind of community events in Discord. It's the Big Head Discord, and there's an exclusive Stoner Cat section. Obviously, you need to follow Mrs. Stoner on Twitter, who is the best tweeter of all time, and it's at Stoner Cats TV on Twitter. She's truly the best follow. I'm at Lisa Sturb, and Sarah, you're something.
At Sarah So Sweetly.
That's it.
Yes.
And we'll put links for all that in the show documents on the website, so everybody can go connect.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you guys for having us. This was fun. Like, I just kind of want to hang out, whether the mic's on or not. Let's just chill.
Right. So I loved that interview with them. I've actually been going back and re-watching some of the Stoner Cats episodes, and I'm super excited about the next one coming out soon. Have you been watching Gen FT?
I have not. So I have been, as you know, traveling the world as you are as well. And so I have now just gotten back, and I can, hunker down and watch some episodes, but they're just two badass women. And I just absolutely loved our conversation. They're just so cool.
I know. I think it's so cool how they took an idea that they had and then it transformed into this NFT project, and that they were able to break the internet, because not very many people can say they've done that.
Yeah. It's such an interesting thing, because TV shows we think of as very traditional, right? The whole TV show and TV space really hasn't changed that much. And so for them to take this leap into the Web3 space, I think is just awesome. It's got to be scary for them, but it's got to be so fun.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how things evolve as, NFTs become more mainstream. And I mean, who knows? It may be like that this becomes, like the Blockbuster or Netflix. It could be the next thing that people don't necessarily watch regular TV. I know, I haven't had cable in, I don't even know when I canceled cable. It's been that long ago.
Yeah. I think we'll see quite the evolution in the future. So they're at the forefront in my mind.
For sure. So speaking of the internet, I want to make sure that, everybody is out there that's listening to this has subscribed, and we would love if you would go leave us a review on your favorite podcast player. Those really help us get seen and get the podcast out there, so that others know that it's available. So we would love a review.
That's right. We absolutely would. And as always, thank you so much for listening to the Nifty Chicks. Always remember, invest in yourself. You are worth it.
Please listen carefully to the following disclaimer. Neither the host nor the guests of the Nifty Chicks podcast are acting in the capacity of financial advisors. We wish to remain transparent and impartial to the NFT community at all times, and therefore, the content provided by the Nifty Chicks hosts and guests are intended for general information purposes only. Nothing written or discussed by the Nifty Chicks hosts and guests should be construed or relied upon as investment, financial, legal, regulatory, accounting, tax, or similar advice. Nothing should be interpreted as a solicitation to invest in any cryptocurrency or NFT, and nothing herein should be construed as a recommendation to engage in any investment strategy or transaction. Please be advised that it is in your own best interest to consult with investment, legal, tax, or similar professionals regarding any specific situation and any prospective transaction decisions. You must do your own research when considering investing in cryptocurrencies or NFTs. We are simply sharing our journey with you as we learn more about the world of NFTs. Happy minting.